Hello. Here we are at Home Daily Bible Readings. I'm getting ready for Sunday school. We're at Thursday, July 2nd. We're in Matthew 11, 1 through 6. I'm Evangelist Sharon Liner coming out of Houston, Texas. When we get to chapter 10, we have seen Jesus go through the Beatitudes in chapter 5. 6 and 7, we've seen the similitudes. In chapter 11, where our scripture comes from, Jesus, in chapter 10, before our scripture, he has called his disciples. In chapter 10, he has given them instructions as how they are to carry themselves when they go to the synagogues, when they are in the streets, when they are witnessing, when they are gaining other people. He's given them specific instructions. And now in chapter 11, when we get to chapter 11, he had commanded his disciples, and they went to preach the word in every city. And John the Baptist is in prison, and he heard of the works of Jesus and what Jesus was doing. So he sent his disciples to find out, is this the one? And verse 4, which our lesson is coming from, Matthew 1 through 6, 11, 1 through 6, verse 4, Jesus said, "Go show John the things that you see and hear." Go show him, go tell him, go assure him that these things are going on. The blind receive their sight. The lame walk. The lepers are cleansed. The deaf hear. The dead are raised up. The poor have the gospel preached to them. Now you can go into Isaiah 61. Let's go there. Isaiah 61 talks about the same thing. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim the liberty to the captives, the opening of the prisons to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. So Jesus repeats the scripture to his disciples, so that they can go and share it to John the Baptist. And he said, "Blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." So John had his own ministry, and now John is in prison, about to have his head cut off. And so Jesus says, blessed are you if you're not offended that I'm doing a greater work than what John the Baptist did. And that goes to us too. We shouldn't be offended when people are lifting up the name of Christ. We shouldn't be offended when people are doing a greater work than what we see ourselves doing, because you don't know what God has for their life. So Jesus tells them, these are the things that you see. You see it, you hear it, you know the scriptures, because he did. John the Baptist knew the scriptures. His parents were in the temple. Zacharias and Elizabeth, they worked in the temple. So John, of course, knew the scriptures. So Jesus pulled that old scripture from Isaiah chapter 61, and Jesus let him know these things are happening because, remember, you are the one that proclaimed those things that happens. So he leaves the disciples of John with, blessed is he who shall not be offended in me. So don't be offended because you see things going on that you didn't see in this ministry, or things going on that you didn't see in my ministry, or whatever. Don't be offended by that if they're lifting up the name of Christ. That's Home Daily Bible Reading on Thursday, Matthew 11, 1 through 6, July 2nd. And so I am Evangelist Sharon Liner out of Houston, Texas. God bless.